Hello again. Given what we just did on normal scoring, this is what I used as my template for what we just did. This is actually something called linear scoring method. You won't see this normally because it's not part of the normal scoring method in cricket, because the scorebook doesn't work like this. But for those scorers who have scored for a long time and discover a linear scoring method, when they see it and when they use it, they see the inadequacies of the normal scoring method, and would love to stay with this if at all possible. So as you can see in this was our example, and we just did the 2 overs of Jason Roy and Alex Hales, and this is the completed version from that game. I know it's a bit grubby, but I did it all in pencil, and a lot of time has fallen after that. But there's the complete analysis, as far as I've gone and completed it, let's say. And the important part of linear scoring is actually this bit to the right hand side, because as the name says, it's linear scoring. Everything is done in a line. So you have, as I say, Mitchell Stark there in the left hand side, being the bowler, and the batsman Roy is in one column and the batsman Hales in the second column, and you see the balls they receive and what happens to each of those balls. There are places to put notes in, and then you have the end of over totals basics on the right hand side. This is my method. It is not the approved method or anything else, but it is a method of linear scoring. As you can see, you then record who scores what when, because everything goes from left and right. So if we looked at that 3rd over, which is Mitchell Stark's 2nd over, it starts with a dot and a 3 scored by Roy. So therefore the next ball is actually received by Hales, and he scores a single. So the next ball goes back to Roy, so there's a space between his 2nd and 4th ball, and he scores a single, and then there are 2 dots. There are also other information about that. As you can see, there are numbers above the actual run score, and that relates to what you would get from a wagon wheel type situation. In this case, because I was just doing it for fun, I was doing most balls and seeing where it happened, what happened to every ball, especially in 1 days. But effectively, yeah, it's about wagon wheel information in paper. Naturally, you don't need to do that. But as I say, when you look at computer scoring, that is an aspect of computer scoring that helps then create a situation where you can create wagon wheels and use it for any purpose you wish. Okay, so that's a section a bit on linear scoring. But before we close this, linear scoring method is great when you're trying to work things out. And I'm going to show you a situation where I was trying to work something out because it wasn't. There was a problem. I took a photograph of, in this case, it's a Binfield 3rd 11 against a Shinfield 3rd 11 game that was played at Soldier Park. As you see, the scorers have not scored every ball. I have to admit, I'm not the most let's say, cleanness of scorers. I can be a bit mucky, but it is very difficult to work out what's going on here. It's very over the place. And as you see, the person is used, on the face of it, pencils or pens that make life very difficult to work out what's happened when. And in fact, it would be difficult therefore to put the score, because it actually doesn't tally, as you can see, between the score bowlers analysis, which I'm sorry I haven't told you before, but if you total the number of runs against all the bowlers, add the leg byes and byes, that should equal the total of runs in the batting analysis, which of course is all the batsmen's runs and all the extras. So, with that, I then went and did that sheet using linear scoring method as far as I was able to. I actually had a few attempts because, naturally, as I say, the scorebook does not show the full information. So this was probably my last and probably best attempt basically at doing all this. And my attempt basically got to a situation where, and there is some more on the other side, you see, here we go, it's what's happening in these final overs which causes the issue. Is there a wide and whatever, and what does it cause? But it would seem that in the 39th over, the score of 235 for 7 is reached, being that they believe the score, that was a score that they needed to get to win. That's Shinfield, that is, who are batting. So, with that, again I go and put in my basics, use the batting analysis. So I've got 202 batting runs. I have to find a 33, so I've got one extra that I don't know, because as you can see 19 plus 1 plus 12 is 32 to get to 235. And when I go down the bowling analysis, I have, let's say, 21, which is, let's say, that one extra needs to be in that leg bye situation. Oh, I've counted it from somewhere else, and that's where I get my 235. But without doing this, I can't get to some sort of situation where I can make a format on what the situation is in terms of batting and bowling. And that is different from this. So that's why linear scoring is really good, because it makes you follow who's the striker, who's receiving that ball for each ball. And that's the way computer scoring went, because that's the natural way of progression. Even though it records normal, it uses linear scoring methodology to undertake the actual work that's done. So at that point, that's where it ends up. That's where I'm going to end up with my paperwork related scoring methods, and at some point we'll get to look at computer scoring